Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this amazing women's empowerment session with our special guest, Monica French, who I am so humbled and grateful to have on here with us. So one thing that I always do is I always reach up. And I saw this woman come in with a vengeance and hit elite one, platinum one so quickly. And so I humbly reached out to her and asked if she could connect with our team to share her success, because one of the things that I learned was that she had success in her last company with a system very similar to the One Voice that we just rolled out, and that she was very instrumental in helping to put this together. So in my desire to help myself and everybody on this team succeed, I inboxed her asking Monica if she would be willing to spend some time with us in Orlando, and things happened that were out of our control. So we're doing it this way instead. But within 2 minutes of me private messaging her, Monica got back to me. So that tells me a lot about who you are and your character and your desire to help other people, even though it's not a direct effect on you personally. So I'm blessed to have you. So Monica, yes, quickly came into our company. She's an elite one, platinum one in Modere. And she shared with me that she started in the industry back in the mid 90s, dabbling in it. But for 4 years, she got really serious about three-way calls and Monday meetings. But then it wasn't until 2014 that she actually found this system and had wild abundant success. So I'm not going to take up any more time. Monica, I'm going to turn it over to you for you to share with this group of what you were able to do to accomplish what you accomplished.
Thank you. I hate that we wasn't able to get together in Orlando. The only bad thing about those events is that we always seem to have, it's always so hectic and we don't have enough quality time. Even with my own team and all that was there, I felt like I was so stretched. How much time do we have on this? What is your normal?
We usually do 30 minutes. We want to be respectful of your time, so.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm fine. I'm good. It's there's so much. I often tend to want to tell you everything that I've learned in 2 years in 30 minutes, and it's not possible. So I'm also a little bit ADD. I'm a little scatterbrained, so it's tough for me sometimes to keep it reined in a time frame. So, but I always want to try.
You're good. I mean, we have up till 45 minutes. We were just trying to respect your time.
Okay, I understand. Okay. I did start back in 95. I started with some natural products, and matter of fact, the two children that I have three children. I have an oldest boy, he's 27, but they said I would never have kids. I had polycystic ovarian disease, and some antioxidants, natural products, improved that greatly, enough that I had two children unexpectedly. I was within months of having a total hysterectomy when I started taking that product, and still haven't had that surgery, but have two children. So that's where I was introduced to natural things, and I believed in them. But back in 30-something years ago, I was paralyzed for a year of my life with Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I was never able to enter the workforce. I wasn't able to finish school, have a seventh grade education due to that illness, and I always just dabbled in things to try to help us earn a little extra income. I started selling vacuum cleaners, and I was about 20 years old, and a lady gave me 2 cassette tapes of Zig Ziglar, and I wore them out. I would listen to him over and over and over again. And one of the things he said was, if you help enough other people meet the needs in your life, every need in yours will be met. He also said formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. And I believed him. And I craved those kind of things. From there, I learned that there was more than just Zig Ziglar out there. There was Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, John Maxwell. I learned that there was more out there, and I craved that. And I have listened to those things for several years now. Most every day we try to have at least 10 minutes or so of something like that here in our home in the mornings. But in 95, I did get serious about network marketing because I believed in the industry. I seen its possibilities, and I did everything a network marketer does. And I was doing the old traditional fake it till you make it, trying to make everybody believe that it was happening, and it wasn't. I did Monday night meetings, and I paid for them out of my pocket every Monday night, and it was a struggle. I stood in front of that room and said the same thing I said last week, this week, gonna say it again next week. and I struggled, and our people struggled. I was teaching other people to come along and fake it till you make it too. Eventually, we're all going to make it, because you see, there was somebody driving a Ferrari, dangling a carrot, saying if you just keep doing what you're doing, eventually you're going to get to drive the Ferrari too. But nobody ever did. I've never seen an in-between. There was always the struggling group, and then the ones who would, just a few at the top had made it, dangling the carrot. And I didn't want to be that person. That company actually, that company folded, really, is what happened. And so I was never going to touch the industry again. I found myself tempted with it a few times, and I would dabble in it. I would get to where I was making a little bit of extra income, not a lot, but a little bit. And when I would get to that place, I had enough people looking to me going, how are you doing it? Help us. And I couldn't duplicate my personality. Mm-hmm. So again, I would back off, and I would find that I would end up just really quitting, ordering the products only, and quitting again. So when this, a couple of years ago in 2014, my weight was out of control, my health was out of control, and I knew natural things were helpful, and the doctors had not been able to help me. So I started taking a product that someone had introduced, and when I started taking that product, my mindset was at a place where I was not chasing a dollar. You see, in 2007, and this sounds like something I shouldn't even be talking about to a lot of people when we're talking about this kind of thing, I know, but you'll understand when I'm done. I have to tell you this part for you to understand how the mindset can change, and that it has to. Because when we come into this industry, we come into this with a driven passion to make some extra money and stay home with our children. So the money, it's hard for that to not be what's driving us. Of course, we love our products and we want to share them, but that money drives us. In 2007, we lost everything we had. We lost our home. It was our first, what I call brick home. And I called it that because I'd always lived in a mobile home. And we still owned the mobile home that we moved out of. At that time, we was renting it out. And we had our first brick home. Was there about a year. My husband's job moved out of the country. And I relapsed with Guillain-Barré syndrome. I didn't know you could. But 3% do, and I fell in at 3%. So we moved out of that home. My husband said, if we don't get rid of this, we're going to lose it. Well, we ended up with no mobile home, no brick home, all the vehicles. We lost everything. We moved what we could into a storage shed, and there was a mobile home that was about to be tore down. And 2 hurricanes had hit it. And we said, don't tear it down. If we can live there, it'll be a roof over our head. It's better than living in the van. Wow. We were faking it. We looked like we had it together, but we didn't have it together. My husband couldn't find a job anywhere. He was being sent back to school. He was taking advantage of that and doing tip jobs. Physically, I had always, anytime there was a struggle, I could get out there and sell another vacuum cleaner. I couldn't do it. My hands were tied. Physically, I was down. My mother was helping take care of us and the kids. And we moved into that mobile home, the one that I talked about when you slammed the doors, the lights would come on and off. We gathered in the living room when it was real cold with a little space heater. There was no electric heat or air. I didn't have a stove. We thought we'd be there 2 or 3 months and something would come up. We would make it out of this, and we were there 6 years. One day the floor literally fell through in the kitchen while I was standing in there. But in that place, I fought for about 3 years. I said, I don't belong here. This is not where I'm supposed to be. How did I end up here? And I said, God, I don't know what it is that I've done, but fix it. And, I had him a list. I had the home we needed. I had the job my husband needed. I needed my health back. I had him a list all prepared, and I was ready for him to hurry up and get it done so I could praise him for it. But his plans often are a lot bigger than ours. And I find we insist on it being done the way we see it being done, and we rob ourselves of our biggest blessings. Because anytime things had gotten to a place where God was working in our life and he was trying to take care of us and help us, and then I would yank it out of his hands and finish it up for him because I thought he needed me at least just a little bit. But about 3 years into this, my husband came home one day and he said, Monica, I believe until you learn to be content inside this trailer, we're not going anywhere. And I didn't want to hear that. The next, about 3 days later, I was walking across that yard, and it was late at night, and I'd gone out of that trailer just for some time to myself and really to fuss at God a little bit about the fact that I was still here. And walking across that yard, and it was so dark you couldn't see your hand in front of your face or the a hole in the ground or a tree in the way, but I walked with confidence, with speed. And I felt like the Spirit spoke to me and said, Monica, I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to teach you to walk. I'm trying to teach you to walk in the Spirit the way you're walking in the flesh right now. And so I let go that night. I said, you know what? It's not doing me any good. I'm fighting, and it's only making things worse. I let go, and I said, okay, God, you will open the doors I walk through, and when you shut them, I won't question you. I'll let you shut the doors. And I'll know that your plans are bigger than the ones that I can see, because you can see a lot further ahead than I can see. So I let go, and I quit fighting that night, and doors began to open. And, you know, I don't know the faith of those of you listening, and I don't know, but like I said on stage, I can only tell you my own story. And I learned to trust in a God that was a lot bigger than me or anything around me or anyone that could help me. And I learned that He would open the doors in my life, and He would take complete care of us, 100%, and He did. This product, it come into our life, and my blood pressure was running 289 over 198. They thought I had a mild stroke. With medication, they were keeping it about 180 over 90. My sugar was spiking. My weight was out of control. And so I got the product, and I was very resistant because it was connected to network marketing. And I didn't like network marketing, and I wasn't going to do network marketing. But you see, back when I let go, the first thing that happened was I began to drive up to that trailer, and I began to feel different. I began to feel contentment where I was. I used to drive up, and I was embarrassed, and I was complaining. I began to be thankful for everything around me and where I was, and I knew that God was working in our life. And I began to drive up to that trailer and feel like the wealthiest woman that ever lived. And I would sit there and think, why do I feel this way? I feel so rich. It was because I began to realize where my real riches were. Mm-hmm. I began to realize that they were staring back at me in the face every day, and the husband that still loved me, and I still loved him, even though we were where we were. My children whose hearts were so big. I began to see and realize my biggest blessings. One day my husband came home and said, we're going to get a hamburger. Let's go get the kids, and we're going to take our last $12 and we're going to go get a burger. And I was like, oh, it's such a wise decision. Let's go. And so we went and got a hamburger. And on the way back home, about halfway, was about a 20-minute drive. We got about halfway home, and McDonald's had those new Frappuccino things, and my husband loved them. And he said, we got $4 left. You want to share one? And I'm like, sure. We drove through the drive-thru, and the boys was in the back seat. They were about 12 and 14 at the time. And they said, oh, we're going to get one of those Frappuccino things. And I looked at my husband and said, I didn't know they liked them. He's like, I didn't either. Oh, well, I guess we'll let them share it. So we drove through the drive-thru, and I handed it back to them. I said, y'all have to share it now. And they said, okay. And they did. And about halfway home, I heard them just a whispering. They handed it up to me, and they said, Mama, we shared the first half. You and Daddy share the second half. And I thought to myself, had I not walked that journey, I may have never seen those qualities developed in my children. I may have never seen the hearts that they have even now today. When they have anything they want, they don't have any real wants. All their needs are met. But they have a heart for the people around them. My kids, one of my boys is off at college, and he wants to just take care of everybody that's there, that's struggling. He don't want nobody he knows what struggle's like. And I don't know that I would have seen that. I may have had spoiled children. I don't want spoiled children. I want my children to have a giving spirit. I want them to have a heart like that. And if it took that to get it, then so be it. It's okay. Those were, I think, the best years of our life, because it's the years that we became who we are. Mm-hmm. And so when this came into my life, I had learned where my riches were. I didn't need to chase any. I had learned to be content where I was, no matter where I was at, and to understand that no matter where I was, there was a lesson in it. That may be more, like someone on the stage made a statement the other day, and I wished I had that with me, something about the journey. And, it just means you're moving up. If you're not struggling, then you're probably not going up another level. And it is true. It is the way that it is. Mediocrity is where those that never experience that stay. So I began sharing the product, or I began using the product and had tremendous success. And I wasn't going to network marketing, so instead I sat down at the computer and I just made a simple statement. Because you see, the computer had become my social world. I was sick. I wasn't feeling well. Life was a struggle. And so I didn't do well out in the real social world. So what I typed and my emojis, I could look happy when I wasn't feeling so good that day. So I hid behind that computer. And I made a statement. I can't believe the energy. I can't believe how I feel. I can't believe I slept all night. Just a simple statement like that. And about 10 people said, what is it? How can I get it? I messaged them and said, it's just a couple capsules. All I need is your PayPal. I'll invoice you. I ship in the order paid. And they did. They gave it to me. I invoiced them and I hadn't enrolled yet. So I took their money because I didn't even have the money to get started. I took their money and I enrolled. By the time that came in, I'd sold 28 more doing the same thing, simply posting something that created and generated curiosity. But I didn't realize at the time what I was doing. I thought I was just not going to sell anything. But in turn, it developed something. It became a system because usually the first thing we want to do is sell it. We want to tell somebody, here's my link. I've got a code for you. But I didn't want to sell anything. So I just wanted to share that, wow, y'all just wouldn't believe the energy I have. You wouldn't believe I slept all night. That's all I wanted to tell them. But then, of course, when they asked, of course, I wanted them to experience it too. So I discovered that when Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough other people meet the needs in their life, every need in yours will be met, most entrepreneurs think he's talking about money. Help enough other people make $3,000 to $5,000 a month and you'll make 10. That isn't what he's talking about. He's talking about be caring, meet the needs, look for where you can be of a help to someone else and improve their life, improve their lifestyle. And when that's your focus, everything else is like a magnet. So I was helping people and they wanted to know what's the ingredients, what's this, what's that. Well, I wasn't going to do network marketing, so I needed to make a group so I could put some files in there and I could just tag them in it. Because I wasn't getting on the phone, I wasn't doing a three-way call, I wasn't doing network marketing. So I made files and I put the ingredients there. When they would ask, I knew where it was. I could tag them. When they added friends because their friends were interested, I needed to show them how to do that too because I wasn't going to get on the phone with their friends either. So I made a group for the leaders and I trained them in how to do what I was doing. And it was just 6 simple steps. Message, don't say what it is, just create some curiosity. When they respond, it's not for you to answer a question. It's simply for you, it's just an excuse for you to add them to the community as your guest, where they're going to be sold. Because you're not selling anything, but the group will sell them. The community will. You tag them in the pinned post so they know why they're there and how the community works. And you send them a private message with a very simple, already copied and pasted link for you, or a message for you with your link and referral code in it. And the link directly to the M3 because we focus on the M3. You know, in this industry, you need a focused product, and the M3 is it. We need a weight loss product. It doesn't work as well if you're using the minerals to do this. You have to focus on the M3 because weight loss, you know, we can have a health product over here that in your hand that says, you know, take this and you're going to live 20 years longer. Take this and you're going to lose 20 pounds. They're going to grab this. They just want to look good in their casket. That's the way people are. And so a weight loss product is where it's going to happen for you. That's what people are interested in. So we're talking about the fact that we have something we can take and it takes the pounds off or so on, and we create curiosity about it. We add them to the group. We tag them in the pinned post. We send them the private message with our link. I never chased anybody. Now, I know follow-up is very important. but I never chased anybody. There is a difference. You have to learn to push, and they'll never know you did. When I would message someone to follow up, I did exactly what I just told you, add tag message. In about 3 or 4 days, if they have not moved forward, then I'm going to send them a private message and say, are there any questions I can help you with for moving forward? When someone is actually moved forward and they're taking the product, I'm going to make sure I tag them in a couple important things. A file on measuring, drinking your water, and that before and after photo every 30 days. That is your best skill. I have a file on that. I tag them there. The next place I tag them is, let's see, we've got the water, the measuring chart, the before and after photo. Those are the three. I've got that all in one file. So that's what I tag them in when they get started. After about 4 or 5 days, now I have a notebook. Some use a card index file. You can use any kind of filing system. There's electronic ones, I'm sure. There's stuff online that you can use. Just something to where you know who has, when they started, when you tagged them, and when you're going to tag them next. You've got that in. I use the old-fashioned, yes, I use the old-fashioned notebook thing, and then we've got those print out. That's right. So about 5 or 6 days into them taking their product, I'm not going to ask them something that creates a negative. I'm going to message them and say, tell me what you're loving best about your M3. From there, I'm either going to get a negative or a positive. If I get a negative, I'm going into the community page and I'm going to search. And I'm say their negative is I'm bloated feeling. Well, we have a file for that. I'm going to tag, I'm going to search. Oftentimes somebody's already asked the question and it's been answered, and a lot of comments have been made that kind of solves the issue. So I'm going to put in the search bloated and see which one will be best for them, and I'm going to tag them in it. I'm going to tag them in something to answer their negative. If it's a positive, then great, that's easy. We just keep moving on. So that's how the system developed. It was because I wasn't selling anything and I didn't like network marketing. So before I knew it, I was ranking every single month, and the company thought that it would take 3 to 4 years for somebody to max out their comp plan, and we did it in 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a blessing, but their product, the FDA did come down on the product in December of last year, and I kept struggling with that, because you see, the story that I traveled and told people was not one about products, really. I didn't go around talking about products and doing a network marketing thing, because remember, I wasn't going to do that. When I traveled from meeting to meeting and told my story, it was my story that I just told you, because I knew that every time I stood in front of a room, I was standing in front of people who had either been through something, were in the middle of something, or were going to head into something in their life, and they needed to hear that there's hope. They needed to hear that there's an abundant life to be lived no matter where you are. They needed to learn that contentment will take you a long way as you go through life. And so that's the story that I traveled and told people. It wasn't a story about product. And I also would tell my story about how I didn't like network marketing, and how there was always somebody driving a Ferrari, often peddling products that people were buying that they didn't need, didn't want, didn't use. Mm-hmm. And so when they changed our product, yes, I don't talk about money much, but it was a lot that we were making. It was ridiculous. Walking away from that was no problem, because you see, I was seeing myself as the guy in the Ferrari. Some people will get to making so much money that you can turn it into sugar pills and they're going to keep pushing it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I was ready to walk away from the industry entirely. Told my husband, I said, you know, you've had a nice break. It's been a little over a year. He had been off of working, and I said, it's been wonderful, but you might want to be prepared to go back, because I'm fixing to say bye to this industry. I'm done. He's like, with this kind of money, you're making it. But he also knew how I was feeling. I could not continue with something that didn't work. So when some friends, it was very ironic, this was happening all about the same time that some friends that were y'all's friends in Modere called me, and somehow some had heard about the system and how we had grown and so on. And I said, you know, I cannot talk about money. I cannot talk about a system. I can't talk about anything like that with you until you first show me a product that works. I've been struggling with my weight still for a while, and they sent me the product. I started it and had tremendous results. And I've lost like 2 sizes. I look like I've lost more than that from my photos, before and after photos, just in 30 days for my husband and I both are amazing. And so I knew I had something I could share with people that I could once again, because see, I thought I had lost my passion. And when you've lost your passion, you're done. But my passion was back when I realized I had something I could put in the hands of others. Again, that was life-changing. My passion was back. And so I knew when that was back, you know, I went to Utah. I was actually in Utah at an event for my former company. And Modere picked me up for the event. And because I called him, I said, okay, I'm ready to talk. Your product works. People at the event I was at were saying, I don't know what you're using, but I know what we're using. You better spill the beans. And I was like, oh, my word. And so I told him, I said, you know, I'm ready to talk. And we went and I talked with Robert Conley. And when he made that statement, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. I felt like 1,000,000 pounds had lifted off my shoulders, and I knew that I was allowing God to shut that door behind me that I'd felt shutting for a while, and I was walking through a new door. I didn't know what tomorrow held, and I didn't know that, you know, I didn't know that I would go Elite 1 in 30 days. I didn't know that at that time. They told me how long they thought it would take me, and it scared me to death. And then I thought, and my team, because, you know, I thought, okay, this is with traditional network marketing. Well, what they did not know yet is we were talking about a system that changes everything. And it doesn't take forever to advance with Modere anymore. You see, and I told my team that. My team was like, well, it's going to take this long to go to this and to go to that and to replace our income. And I'm like, you have a system. It's not going to take you long. Because you see, when you have a great product, you have a great company, now you have a system that changes the way you present it. So it doesn't take you, we've eliminated the struggle, the fake it till you make it. We've eliminated that. You now have this simple system. You simply follow it. And you advance. It's just the way it's a path. You see, before so many people, and I know we talk about dreams. We talk about dreaming. And of course, dreaming is wonderful. But I had gotten to a place where I didn't want to offer anybody a dream anymore. I wanted to offer you a pathway. And I think we have.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Such an amazing, compelling story.
Not a dream, a path.
I want to just, before we go into asking any questions, I want to just open up to all of the people who are on the attendees. On the right-hand side, if you have any questions to ask Monica, anything, she's willing to answer you. And while we're waiting for any questions to come in, obviously we just want to thank you, Monica, for your amazing story. It always touches my heart. And I've been writing. I already have 3 pages of notes, and I've already heard your story like 7 times. So, but I always write down the same things. And, you know,
repetition is the key to learning.
Correct. I love the part where you shared about letting go. And I wrote, from your words, the journey shapes our families too. And I thought, you know, isn't that what we all want? You know, we're trying to shape our children. Many of us are doing this so that we can be with our children. And then I actually feel like the end of your story goes back to the beginning, right? The way that you were able to release and let go to God, right, from walking away from this company was because you already trusted Him, that you were able to release before and His plans came through. And I feel like, of course, what Robert said is so on target, but really you had come to that place many years ago. So knowing that your passion was gone, you're on a panel with women who have a similar story, a company that we all helped build kind of fizzled away, and it was something that we were extremely passionate about, all of us for different reasons. I had 5 very close friends that had cancer, and I became extremely passionate about what I was doing. So it was kind of like a death for us to refocus. And I'm so proud of these girls, because we were all no's. We were all no's, and we became yeses, and we said, okay, we're gonna do this because of the mission of Modere. And this system, it really is the special sauce. But I wanted to, before any questions come in, I had written down just a comment that maybe you could touch on. What are some of the ways, apart from business, that you help center yourself daily, some daily disciplines done daily that have built you into the leader that you are, and that you're able to kind of silence the noise around you, and keep moving forward? Because, you know, if you're in this industry, or whatever we want to call this, now, shifting retail is a little bit different than the network marketing, but there's a lot of no's, right? So how are you centering yourself and becoming this leader to lead people who have to go through the jungle with you?
I don't think I really don't pay a lot of attention to the no's. I just work with the yeses.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. I go through, I create curiosity and work with what's drawn to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I add, I tag, I message, I work with what sticks. I don't chase anything.
Wait, I want that. I want to write that down. Work with what's drawn to me.
And then I add, I tag, I message, and I work with what sticks.
That's right. I never chase anyone. And you talked about commitment. You talk about how the beginning of the story and the end of the story. You see, money makes us more of what we already are.
Correct.
Thankfully, I had great values already put in me way before.
Mm-hmm.
And the money that came didn't change me. You see, when I gained contentment, joy, and peace in my life, and I learned where my riches were, money didn't change it. I still knew that the money was not what made me happy, and that I had to have a passion for what I was sharing. So money makes us more of what we already are, and if it doesn't change you, then walking away when it's necessary and allowing doors to close is easy. But yes, the working with what sticks, and never chasing anyone, because if you've got to chase them, you've got to continue to chase them.
Right. It's true.
You were about to ask something,
Holly.
Oh, yes, Monica, thank you. First of all, I absolutely love you. I just do. I have so much respect for you and so much appreciation for you and how your heart works, because, we are all similar here. We are very intended business women. We have the big picture in mind, but never at the cost of minimizing our values. We're all parents here, and that comes first. So I don't even understand how these big businesses and these people, some people, unfortunately, everything is about the bottom line. I don't know how people sleep at night like that, but that's for them. This is for us. So I'm so grateful for you and for opening your heart and for letting God, speak into your life. And if you're getting on the wrath that He sent out to you, thank God, because you can inspire so many people, and you are doing so, to let us see that you can follow your heart and follow your passion and live with ethics and create an income as a result. So thank you for that. I mean, it's such a blessing. I do have a business question, though. This is more of a strict business question, and this is related to my least favorite part, which is the network marketing part. I gag on those words. I like to call it direct selling because it just reminds me of some guy with a stack of encyclopedias at my door. Can't stand it, because I feel like what we've done and what we're doing is pioneering something brand new with, that back end available to us. But I feel like it should be called something different because it's so different. That's just my view. But when we're thinking about that, this industry, do you speak to people that are in, direct selling? And if so, do you speak to them either to reach out or in relationships that you're in with them? And if so, what does that conversation look like to expose them to what we're doing in Modere?
I tell the same story to everyone, because to me, if you cannot, for me, it is so huge in my life that I became content, because most people aren't. They think they are, but they aren't. And indirect sales and other companies, no matter what they're doing, chasing that dollar is there on the top of the list, even when they're trying to say, oh no, I just want to help some people, but their actions and the way they go about presenting and the way they go about it proves differently. They're still chasing a dollar. You have to have a mindset change. So I simply tell my story everywhere I go, to every group and whether it's, there's ladies events, there's church events I speak at, I tell the same story. There is direct sellers that have me talk, and I share with them, or I do a 3-way call with their teams or whatever. I tell the same story because I believe that the most important thing for them is that they become content where they are and stop chasing the dollars. Find a passion for what they're sharing and share it with that passion. Truly care about people. It's just like, within our group, as our team built, and as our team page, our group page built, there was no fighting over things. There was no fighting over customers, because from the beginning I had taught them about contentment, being content, and being happy where you are and not chasing dollars. And so when they wasn't chasing dollars, they also wasn't fighting over people. And so I think that is important, whether you're in direct sales, and no matter what you're in or what you're doing. I think that is important. And someone asked a while ago about what we do daily. I think that daily, feeding yourself the good, the clean, the pure, the positive, John C. Maxwell, Brian Tracy, feeding yourself those things every day is key to developing that right mindset as well and keeping it.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing from you is that your conversation is consistent, always based on your faith, your belief, your passion, your drive, and your intent to only help people. And then what you do is keep yourself open, and when they come to you, because you're attracting that, you work with them, and then wherever it is they're supposed to fall, whether it be a customer or perhaps a social marketer, that's where you take them further. Is that safe to say?
That's true. And when someone's getting started with this, I approach everyone with getting started as a customer most of the time. But I do ask what I feel is a key question, and that is, how do you want to get started? Just for you, or to share with others and earn extra income with us? That lets me know whether or not to introduce social marketing to them, or whether to start them as a customer. We did this from the beginning back 2 years ago, and consistently every month we were about 60-40, 60% customers, 40% marketers. And then I didn't even know all of the knowledgeable things about the numbers in the industry, but I've since then, Justin and them have shared with me, and Rick Teague has shared with me, that the numbers should be about 60-40 for a solid, secure team. So that is a key question to me, because you do not want to enroll someone as a social marketer if they only want to purchase it for themselves. Yeah. If they have no interest in building a team, then it's not beneficial to you for them to be a social marketer.
Especially
we had the thing where it was like $25, it was 50% off, and so everybody wanted to throw that on their page. It's 50% off to enroll, and I'm like, you keep doing the same thing you've been doing. The only time that's an advantage to you to use is when someone's already sharing. They're doing a lot of sharing as a customer. You might then want to mention, you sure are sharing a lot. You might want to look into this. It's 25%, it's 50% off right now to enroll or to upgrade. Never do I, unless I've asked that question and they tell me they want to earn income, then I'm going to share that special with them. Because it is no special if they only want to be a customer. There's no point in that. Their price is the same as mine.
I think that especially with the Modere model, and I'm sure you would agree, they've really just gotten it right for customers, right? So, in other businesses, when you weren't being paid, when your customer was not separate from your pod, let's say, from your legs, then it made sense to add it, because if you were building volume left and right or what have you, everybody who's on here is a builder. I can see their names, so we can talk about this. But the truth of the matter is, why would you want to take up the space? $25, $50, whatever it is, it's an extra and it's a possibility for a no. And we really do take care of our customers. Everybody's number one goal for the team that I've been working with and the people that I bring in is to live clean for free. Why? Because then they can build their business for free. And, I am of the mindset that people, even if they are not financially struggling, they'll use finances as an excuse, right? And you proved it that that's not true, right? You took in the 10 people and you bought your own system with that. And, that reminds me of Jim Rohn. He always says, that you don't really have to pre-buy things, right? You can be a real builder by learning how to sell the thing. You don't need the actual product to actually sell it, because people buy into the dream, and they buy into who you are.
That's right. That's right.
Monica, I love what you said, so I really want to repeat it for the people listening to this, because here's the thing. First of all, your story is amazing, but that's your story, right? So what everybody on this panel needs to do is they need to be able to create their story and repeat it everywhere they go, to everybody they talk to, over and over again. And I think it should be about contentment. I think that all of us here are here for the same reason. Yes, the money is an issue, but we want to make a difference in people's lives. We want to make a difference in the world. We want to leave a legacy. It's not about the dream of the Lamborghini. We're all sick to death of that nonsense. And that's why we're here. And Alexandra said, many of us, at least the three of us on this panel, we were a solid no before coming to Modere. And thank goodness our no became a yes. So you guys, all of you listening, create your story that you can repeat to everybody you talk to, wherever you are, all the time. And the other points that you made were that if you add tag message and somebody doesn't follow up or join within 3 to 4 days, or they have not moved forward, that you send them a private message. So one thing I want everyone to know is that follow-up is so important, because it might take 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 touches before you actually get them to join you. And I'm only speaking from my own personal experience and my journey, and people seeing my success and the success of others that I've shared. And so after seeing it enough times, I've had people come back to me. So I think that's critical. If they don't move forward within 3 to 4 days, private message them, asking them if you can answer any questions to help them with moving forward. And then I loved what you said about the ones who do move forward, that you tag them in the files of the pledges and making sure that they're taking their measurements and before and afters, because you guys, the measurements and the before and afters for me are what kept me going in this. If I had only relied on the scale, I would have quit. Okay. And then in 5 to 6 days that you reach out to them again and ask them, what are you loving best? I hope everybody was taking notes as feverishly as I was. You guys, I love how Monica said she does not leave it open to a negative. And then if a negative comes out, like I don't like the taste of the flourish, or I'm feeling bloated, you don't have to be the one to answer. The fact that we can always point to the tools, so that the tools and the groups are the ones that are answering the questions, the easier and better our life is going to be. So Monica, I mean, if I tell you I have 5 pages of notes, and I also have heard your story 5 or 6 times, I'm so, so grateful for you. And the fact that you shared that story about the skirt around your ankles, that made you and I forever friends, without a doubt, because I just think you're hilarious, and I love your...
Joan, you always love that story.
Oh my
Joan
God,
was like,
I was rolling.
I love Monica. She's just like me.
You don't understand. So I was laying in bed, and I lay in bed at night. My husband listens to his sports, so I've got my headphones in, typically filling myself with the good stuff. And I was laying in bed listening to that story, and I'm busting out laughing. I swear my husband's like, Joan, what is wrong? And I said, I unplugged my headphones. I'm like, you've got to listen to this. So I so appreciate you. I would love for us to open it up for
I haven't seen any, but you can also, girls, you can raise your hand right next to your name. There's a little almost high five. You can touch that. And if you do that, we'll be able to unmute you. And if you don't want to write your question, you can just ask it. While we're waiting, Monica, what are some books? I don't know if you're a reader, but I do 15 minutes of devotions in the morning, and then I have some books that we work on, as a group, and then I do some that I do privately. I'm rereading this one, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And, you know, obviously the how to influence friends, how to win friends and influence people. But are there any great books that you would recommend today for our leaders?
I'm not really a reader because I have a serious focus problem, but it's what I do is I love books. I do
Okay.
love books. I have bookshelves running over. I love all these books. So I get the book and I get the audio version.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to them in the car. I love if I'm by myself in the car, there's a book or something by John C. Maxwell or something's going. And when I find that something they say that I like, I take a highlighter in the book and I highlight it. And then I'll thumb through that book, because when I pick up a book, I'm probably going to read the back of it first or the middle somewhere. So I listen to them and then I take it and I highlight what I hear and I like to just kind of look through those highlights every now and then. But and I was looking for it, and I think I actually cleaned up my desk because I thought you were going to be able to see it. And so now, I can't find anything. And I had some books close by, but there's one of John C. Maxwell's latest books is Intentional Living. That is a fantastic book. Everyone, I believe, should read it. Living Life Intentionally. That's one of his latest. But anything by John C. Maxwell is fantastic on leadership and just self-development in general. All of See You at the Top, Zig Ziglar. I mean, you can go on YouTube. Go to YouTube. This is what we do in the mornings. On YouTube, we go and we'll search John C. Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, and just find a topic that we would like to listen to. Mm-hmm. There's hundreds. And almost anything you click on, it's going to be beneficial to you in growth and self-development.
Thank you for that. I'm an audiobook girl too. And I love it because my kids would never pick up these books, but they're listening to them. I know Miles Monroe, he's one of my favorite, and he has one about the lions and how they lead and why they're the leaders, right? It's their attitude. They're not the heaviest, the strongest, the fastest, but they run things. And my son, when I play it, it comes on in our CD changer, he says, attitude. Repeat after me, attitude. So they know, they are listening, and it's really cool. I've always thought how cool it is that they're getting to be fed all of this stuff.
And I think a lot of times you talk about, what we're listening to. I think what we are listening to every day, it makes it. You cannot listen to these kind of things every single day and stay on the couch. True. You just can't do it. It's impossible. I read Sarah Young. Sarah Young's how I start my day. I love Sarah Young. It's just because I do have the attention span issue, and her things are just little bitty short little clips.
I have it here.
And it's like they're talking to me every single day. Every day it's for me. So I love that book. And but when I was younger, I remember. Does any of y'all know what Odyssey is? You ever listen to Odyssey? Mm-hmm. It's a Focus on the Family thing. It's this little cartoonish type thing that you would listen to. It came on every day. I grew up listening to Odyssey. My kids grew up listening to Odyssey. And I often see things and situations where I know that listening to those, they build value in you. They create great character in your children and yourself. And I can tell that those made a difference in my young life. And they made a difference in my children's life. And so now as adults, we're adulting, so we got to, we've moved up from Odyssey. I still like to listen to Odyssey. But in the adulting world, so now we go to John C. Maxwell, Zig Ziglar, still feeding ourselves the clean, the pure, the positive, and the powerful every day. And you can only grow if you feed yourself that day.
Monica, one quick question for you. Getting back to the group, did you find it helpful? I don't know if this is something that you do or that you've done. Within your group, when somebody, not to focus on the negative, but people that have health issues, something that was beneficial for me was a girl that's got some serious health issues, way younger than me, and she's on different medications for like rheumatoid arthritis. So it was really wonderful to be able to go into the M3 Challenge group and not, give her my opinion because I have strong opinions about some of these medications. It's none of my business. But I was able to go in and search rheumatoid arthritis within the M3 Challenge group. Joan also helped me with speaking to her and said search immune issues or inflammation-based issues. And all these posts popped up with people that either had psoriatic arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis and were on these similar medications. And what I could do was go in and tag this young woman in the comments on that post and say, okay, this may or may not apply. I just thought, it's nice to see that there's a wonderful community. If this doesn't touch you, at least, and then all these people chimed in. Do you do that, or did you do that? And if so, was that beneficial? And do you feel that this is an asset or a negative?
That's a part of the system.
Excellent. Thank you.
That is the system that we have shared, because that was the whole thing. See, third-party information is powerful. Nobody wants to be sold by you. So even when they ask you a question that is to do with physical situations or whatever, when you start explaining, subconsciously you're selling them.
Correct.
They don't want to be sold by you. But if you go into that group and you find where someone else has discussed it and you tag them in it, it's now third-party information and they accept it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. And it also takes a lot of liability off of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. True.
Well, Monica, we've taken up.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
This also gives somebody who's brand new day one the ability to do exactly what we're doing. They don't have to know how to explain it. Tag
Yes,
them.
you see all these people that don't know them are willing to help. Exactly. Thank you so much for that.
All right, Monica, we've taken up so much of your time. We are so appreciative of you and excited to be at the top with you because we all share similar values and dreams of making a difference and the way we're going to do that. And so we all look forward to being at the top with you for a long, long time.
Well, there's a lot of room at the top, and
right.
How exciting. I cannot wait for January, and I've never liked these things. I've always hated these kind of events, never liked them. The last one that I was at was extremely painful. I mean, it was not a good deal. But I have never in my life, I did not know it existed to lock arms with people like we have locked arms with.
Amen to that.
A stellar focal team. Monica, isn't Robert Connolly just like, he blows my mind. I love he's so humble, and I just love his wisdom.
His character just reeks from him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious. It's just there, and that's just amazing, and that draws me. That's what I want to lock arms with.
Well, we
Thank
have
you
no
so
questions.
much.
We have no questions. So, ladies, I hope that you've gotten everything that you needed from this time. I know that I have. And Monica, let's do it again, and let's invite us to participate with your team because we would love to do that as well.
Okay, yeah, I have to figure out this webinar thing.
Very good. And we'll help you with that.
Okay.
Help you with that, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you for everybody who logged on.
Thank you.
Yes, y'all.